Have you ever been in a meeting where everything's going well and you're connecting and you're talking about the problems they're having and you're sharing about your products and services? And in your mind, you're thinking, this is great. I am totally closing this deal. But then all of a sudden, they start asking all these really tough questions and they're going down rabbit holes about little details about what you're offering. Or they're saying, oh, that sounds really expensive. I don't know if I can afford that right now. Or suddenly the whole thing just feels like it's going south. And then you don't get the deal. We've all been there. There's that sinking feeling of like, oh, I thought that they were all in. Sometimes people get on a call with you or set up a meeting with you, and they spend the first 5 minutes saying how excited they are to be on the call with you or be in the meeting with you. And yet somehow that deal does not close. Well, this is why people get sales training. And once I got my sales training and learned how to overcome objections, I was able to get through so many more of these tough closing situations. And I want to make sure you can too. I've already taught a lot of closing skills here. And today I want to talk about what to do when you start getting all these objections at the end of a sales call or meeting. There's 3 things you can do to get through that moment. And if you don't use these 3 things, there's actually a high chance that you could sabotage the deal, in the sense that if you get caught up in your emotions or you start taking it personally or you get defensive, God forbid, right? That deal will definitely not close. So if you use these 3 tips, we're going to double your chances of closing. And I'm also going to give you a free tool that you can use right away to make sure that these tips really come into action in your life and in your sales calls. So the first of the 3 tips is to not take it personally and realize that this is just a biochemical reaction that's happening for people. There's a part of your brain called the amygdala that controls fight, flight, or freeze. It's what kicks in when you feel like you're in danger. And unfortunately, that kicks in when people are about to spend a bunch of money or make a big decision. It's a biochemical reaction. It has nothing to do with you. And so when that happens for your client, here's how you'll notice it. They'll start being very hesitant or asking a ton of questions or seeming almost like they're panicky. And what's happening in their body is all this cortisol is running through their body because any change can feel like danger psychologically. Again, it's a biochemical reaction, nothing to do with you. So they might feel queasy, they might feel panicky. And I want you to notice this in yourself the next time you're making a big purchase. I remember paying for my son's summer camp the first time I got that bill, and I was like, whoa, this is thousands of dollars. Like, you can literally feel nauseous. So have some empathy. Don't take it personally. That's the first thing. The second thing is, if you know that that's going to happen, and it happens more often than it doesn't, especially if you're selling a higher ticket item, right? The higher your price is, the more likely they're going to have this little amygdala freak out and do the fight, flight, or freeze thing. So having phrases that you have at the ready and answers to the most typical objections is super valuable. That's the second big tip. Is write out what you would like to say when someone says something like, well, that's more expensive than I thought it was going to be. Or I need to check with my spouse. I'm not sure if I can make this decision. Or thank you. That was a lot of great information. Let me go away and think about that and I'll get back to you. I want you to have everything written out so that you're just ready to go with your answers. And that's our free tool we're giving away. We have an objections tool that has you write it all out so that you'll be ready. So if you'd like that tool, just put objections in the comments and we'll find a way to get it to you digitally, of course. And then the third thing to do is to know that there are tools and tips and tricks to help you get through even the toughest objections. Even people who are, I've been on calls where people are like saying flat out no. But if you've been trained in sales and if you understand what's happening for them psychologically in that moment, then you know which tool to take out of your toolkit to help them through it. And at the very end of a close, when you're getting to that last mile, we just had the marathon in New York, so I'm thinking about the runners. And one year I went and watched the last mile, which was very moving because some people, they get to that last mile of the marathon and they've been running for hours. And I saw people literally like crumble to their knees and just say like, I'm done. I give up. I can't do it anymore. I can't go one more step. and then the crowd would cheer and they would get back up. And to a person, with our help and the cheering, they would make it to that last mile. It was very, very inspiring. But I sometimes think of that when I'm on a sales call. I've been on the call for an hour with this person. We've had this incredible connection. They want to take one of my programs, but that last mile can be so hard. They can fall down and really need that cheering and all of us to have faith in them. So I have faith in them, but I also need the tools. And so the third tip about what to do during objections, right? We're just going to review. It's 1, don't take it personally. Remember, this is a biochemical reaction. 2, have some answers at the ready, written out in your outreach tool or on a piece of paper or in your notes. I don't care where you keep them. And the third thing is to understand the psychology of sales and to use it during objections. I can't teach you all those things right here, right now on the call. And this is part of what's in my sales training program. But I have taught some of them here. And one key one is that your job in this last mile is to make sure they understand that it's going to cost them more to keep the problem than to pay you to solve it. Let me say that again, because that is very important information. It's going to cost them more to keep the problem than to pay you to solve it. And if you can master that, you will close so many more deals. Because when this person got on a call with you, they didn't just wake up that morning with that problem. They've had that problem for weeks or months or years. And so you knowing how to get them back to the place that got them to set up the call in the first place, where they were talking about to their colleague maybe, or to a spouse, or who knows who they were talking to, like, I can't make this work anymore. I got to find someone to fix this marketing campaign, or I've got to find a way to get my sales up, or I have to find a way to counter burnout. Whatever it is that your product or service solves, they have a need for you. And so getting them back to that need and getting them back to what it's been costing them to live with that problem, that's what's going to get you to close that deal. I hope to see you back here next time. And in the meantime, stay brave, go big, and be kind to yourself.